Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Podcast with Champions, episode 5, with your host Navjot Singh. In our previous podcast, we have brought to you eminent personalities from different fields, learning from their experiences and making sure that little bit of darkness in this world is gone. Today, we have a very, very special guest who needs no introduction. But for the benefit of the audience, I will introduce our today's guest is Miss Kritika Khanna. She is India's first female para rower. Apart from that, she has several other accolades, which we will go across as we interact with her. And without much ado, I will open the floor to Kritika. And before that, I will start with a poetry as I generally do, dedicate to her grit and determination. As they say, मैं उस माटी का वृक्ष नहीं जिसको नदियों ने सींचा है मैं उस माटी का वृक्ष नहीं जिसको नदियों ने सींचा है बंजर माटी में पलकर मैंने मृत्यु से जीवन खींचा है मैं पत्थर पर लिखी इबारत हूं शीशे से कब तक तोड़ोगे मिटने वाला मैं नाम नहीं तुम मुझको कब तक रोकोगे तुम मुझको कब तक रोकोगे लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन प्रेजेंटिंग टू यू कृतिका खन्ना सो वेलकम कृतिका वेलकम टू द शो.
Thank you so much, Navjot, and what a wonderful poetry you said. I could resonate at every word. And yes, आपको कोई नहीं रोक सकता जब तक आप खुद को नहीं रोकते. So definitely,
Absolutely.
let's begin with this today. And thank you so much for inviting me on this podcast.
The pleasure is completely ours to have such, people with such grit and determination. So, Kritika, let's turn the clock back to your childhood days. Please tell us something about yourself and the audience so that we get to know more about the Kritika, the person.
Kritika in person is a very bubbly girl, full of life, and loves to, enjoy small little things in life. She loves to be happy about those things. So I would say Kritika Khanna in herself is somebody who enjoys small things, little happiness. जो भी छोटी छोटी चीजें हैं, something that I appreciate in life. And I had my schooling from Presentation Convent in Jammu, and
Right.
later I did my graduation from Arena Animations. I'm a bachelor in multimedia and then an
Oh,
MBA in HR. So that's
lovely.
the academics that went through, and suddenly,
Lovely.
you see you are all grown up from being that child. You are suddenly a teenager, and I
Mm-hmm.
have been somebody who has been active in co-curricular,
Mm-hmm.
activities in the school and everywhere. So I used to be in sports. I used to be in dancing, singing. I mean, like name it anything, and I used to be present there because that's what I enjoyed the
Mm-hmm.
most. And when I
Mm-hmm.
talk about the passionate Kritika was more passionate about dancing. So I
Okay.
still love to dance a lot. Sports was
Mm-hmm.
not present during those days much, but I was more of
Mm-hmm.
a dancer.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I enjoyed my school that time, and at the age of 18 is how I the life changed altogether. So we'll get back to on that little later.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's how I would define Kritika. Bubbly, more like a butterfly, as she was always called.
So, what kind of activities were you a very that innocent child or something that would trouble the parents, or just a sincere little child that would be the in the good books of parents and teachers. So, what was Kritika as a student as a child to the parents?
As a student to my parents, I was very obedient. Of course, to my teachers also, I was very obedient, very disciplined child. But
Okay.
something that was very funny about me was a child who would not ask free time for playing outdoors, but would ask, Ki, please give me 5 minutes. I'll quickly play a song, dance, and come back for another, class or anything that my mother would always teach us. So during my
Okay.
exam days, also, I was somebody, Ki, please, mama, give me break for 5 minutes. I'll
Mm-hmm.
quickly dance on a song and come back and start studying again. So
Mm-hmm.
it was always more of like I was, dancing around. But in the meanwhile, I would say as a student, I was very obedient to my parents
Mm-hmm.
also because my parents are from the education background. So you can always understand कि पढ़ोगे
Yes.
लिखोगे तो बनोगे नवाब वाला scene था in the family. So it was more of studying all the time. But yes, activities played always a special role in my life.
So, I mean, as you said, as I can see in your profile also, both of your parents are in education sector. Your father has retired. He's retired. He's working.
He's retired.
He's
He's
retired.
a
He's retired as
retired
a
chief education officer.
chief education officer, and your mother is also into education. On this
Yes.
one, we share something common because both my parents, they are also into education. My father also retired as a lecturer, and mother, she's principal
Okay.
in a school right now.
So
So
I'm
I think
sure
I
you
can
can relate to how our childhood would have been.
absolutely I understand all of you what you were telling. जो भी आप बता रहे थे मैं पूरी तरह इस चीज को समझ पा रहा था कि that strict atmosphere जो घर पे होता है कि हाँ
Absolutely.
मतलब even though they never taught us, but the idea was that sincerity, कहते हैं टीचर्स के बच्चे जनरली सिंसेयर होते हैं, तो that kind of thing I can definitely relate to that.
It was
So tell
actually
us,
that way.
yeah, tell us more about your parents, your mom and dad, your siblings. So,
As I already said, my father is a retired chief education officer, a man who is, just very passionate at heart. And I must say, he's an avid reader. He reads a lot.
okay,
When it comes
okay,
to talking about, any field, it's Papa. It's always Papa that you go
hmm,
up to and you ask him, and then suddenly you will experience a different world altogether about the topic.
right,
Like
right,
these days, we have lots of because of the Ram Mandir in that is going to
yeah,
take place on 22nd of this month. And the stories I get to hear from my father is like, I sit as a child and I'm like just looking at him and listening
hmm,
to all the stories just like a kid, because he opens different doors in front of you. Maybe
hmm,
because he reads a lot and he
right,
studies a lot about things. So it's always like you sit in front of Papa and there's lots and lots to learn from him. And when it comes to mamas are always, the nurturers, and they
yeah,
always protect you.
empaths,
So
yeah,
yeah, that's how mothers are. So I would not say that she's more concerned about what's going outside, but she's more concerned about, did you eat, what are you going to eat, should I make something for you? So mothers are always those protective kinds. So she's the
absolutely,
same. And my brother is in army. He's
okay,
lieutenant
okay,
colonel at present. So
okay,
obviously he's not here, he's posted out. So it's more of
hmm,
like video calls with them. And then he has a family also, he's got two kids. So it's more of interacting with them on the video calls and Zoom calls and everything. But yes, altogether we're a close knit family, very close to
yeah,
each other. And
right,
we enjoy a small time that we spend together every day. And because I'm
absolutely.
very close to my parents also, I make sure that I spend at least 2 hours in the day when I come back from office with them. That is just me and their time. It's our time altogether. So
Mhm.
that's how my parents are and my family is.
I think another thing that we share in common is my brother is also was also in the army. He
Okay.
left army. He was in the Corps of Signals, Major Abhinandan. So
Okay.
lot of similarities there. Yeah. So I mean, was the atmosphere very strict at home, or were you allowed to do what you wanted to do? I mean, was how was it like in those years? I mean, as you said,
Of
you never
course,
wanted, never asked to play out. You asked, to dance or something like that. So were your parents supportive of this, and how things were?
my family was very supportive all along. It was always like, padhai kar lo, and then you have your time. Do whatever you want to
Yeah,
do in your time. But again, I would say,
absolutely.
because when we come down from the education field, it's more of
Yeah.
like study is most important, and then everything comes back later. So of
Mm-hmm.
course, we would always have this, fixed time frame that we would study in at home, our homework and everything. Even my mother had made homework copies for us, so that
Okay.
after office we would after school we would complete the homework, and then we would do mama's homework, because that was something very important for us. So
Yeah, yeah.
we would always do that, and then later we would go out and play. That was our time altogether, never stopped. And it was more of like, bus, you should be studying well, rest, all is fine, all is okay with them. So they were very
Mm-hmm.
supportive. They knew that I love
Mm-hmm.
dancing. And
Right.
we, the children in the neighborhood used to get together in the evening, and we used to play badminton a lot. So there was never anything that was only apart from studies everything was okay. In
Everything
studies
was
everything
okay.
was very strict, I must say.
Yeah. So as you mentioned that you studied from presentation convent, school and teachers they play a very very important role. हमारे जो व्यक्तित्व को शेप करने में हमारी जो पर्सनालिटी है, हमारा दृष्टिकोण होता है, हमारा जो पर्सपेक्टिव होता है, उसको shape करने में the teachers also play, your peer group, your friends in school. So how much of the credit you would like to give to your teachers and your friends in school days for shaping the personality that you have today?
See, I would say I was little conserved also in the school days. I wouldn't talk much. But
Okay.
yes, my teachers knew that, she is a bubbly girl and she cannot sit somewhere for a longer period.
Mhm.
So they all knew about it. And I would say teachers, just right after your mother, the teachers are the real person who come into picture when it comes to bringing out
Absolutely.
your personality and your qualities and everything. They
Right.
are the ones who would say कि हीरे को वही लोग तराशते हैं. So that is how
बिल्कुल
teachers are basically.
बिल्कुल
So
बिल्कुल
throughout my academics, teachers have been very supportive. हाँ, लेकिन उन्हें एक चीज बहुत फनी लगती थी that क्लास में कम होती है, ऑडिटोरियम में ज्यादा दिखती है.
हम्म
Or either she's in the playground. So there used to be
एक्स्ट्रा
more of that ways. I
एक्स्ट्रा
would share
करिकुलर
something very funny with you here. I
या
had my pre boards in 10th. Okay.
हम्म
So my father never ever visited our school, and he was very strict about it when he said ki in case if I pay a visit to your school, you are not my children, I'm not your father. That's how he had told us all together. But then I
हम्म
remember there was this pre-boards 10th ka hone wala tha, and we were studying in the class, and I had annual day preparations going on in the school. So
हम्म
my father paid a surprise visit to our school, and it was a chemistry period, which is my father's mastery
ओके सब
in chemistry.
अच्छा
He's a master in
ओके
chemistry. So
ओके
I was not in the class. He visited my class, and I was not in the class. I was in the auditorium preparing for the annual day, and my father actually asked my teacher to call me from the auditorium, and he didn't utter a word there. He said, I'll see you at home. And I was like, oh my God, for the past 10 years, this man never visited my school. And the day I was not in the class, he visited. And I was busy dancing in the auditorium. And I remember when I came back home, and he was like, I suppose your pre boards are more important than this annual day government.
Absolutely. Fathers have this thing.
So my teacher was very much, concerned about this thing, but the teacher said that don't worry, she has already covered everything, and she's doing good in class. So it's okay if she's not present in the class. I would excuse her for this. And I was like, thank God somebody saved my day. But otherwise, I was thinking I'm going to get a good thrashing at home. But
Absolutely, absolutely,
fortunately, that's how teachers are because they know their students very well. And coming
absolutely.
on to my batchmates, my classmates, everybody was. Uh, is there a network glitch? I guess. Okay. I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
In between.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So my friends were also very supportive. We used to have some good time together in school. And yes, we were a group of girls who would be always present in all the events of the school.
Activities,
So we were a
activities.
close knit a team of few of us who would be, dancing around or maybe in sports. So it was all together like, you've actually made me nostalgic about school at present.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is
So
actually
it was
school
fun.
life.
Entirely my teachers and my classmates have been equally supportive throughout.
School life is always fun and nostalgic.
Yeah.
As you mentioned about extracurriculars, I have an incident. I when I used to participate in debating competitions in my university college days, whenever I used to win first prize and all that, my father would say, "ये तो ठीक है, पढ़ाई का क्या है?" So he was always about कि पढ़ाई कर लो, मतलब debating अपनी का चलती रहेगी. So that is the kind of maybe they are protective about us that we
Yeah.
secure our careers and that part.
But
So
I
Kritika,
must
now,
say, the moment they come down for an event where you are performing, nobody is more proud than them.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
that's how you see that okay, my father is proud of me being
Yeah,
on the
yeah, yeah.
stage. But then
They
of
will not
course
say
as parents,
they will not say it
yeah,
explicitly, but then their expressions will definitely tell that.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So, Kritika, moving on, I mean, let's move on to that part of your life, which kind of changed things from this cheerful, bubbly girl who had a lot of, full of life and, participating in everything. So, tell us if you, whatever comfortable you are in sharing whatever there is. So, would love to hear your story, the event that changed your life.
So coming on to the major, life-turning situation in my life, wherein I lost my leg to an accident when I was in 12th standard. So it
Okay.
was my exam day. Our 12th boards were going on at that time. And on the second day of the exam is when this accident happened. I
Okay.
was on a scooty with my friend, and my scooty actually skidded off, and there was a tipper that was coming behind us, and it was a speeding
Mhm.
tipper, of course. And
Okay.
it just went over me, just crushed my leg and passed. And the moment, I think, I was conscious throughout when this thing happened. And I already saw my foot lying next to me. It was already, in two
Mhm.
parts. The bone was completely exposed, and the knee joint was crushed. So I knew that this thing has happened. And I still remember, I can feel at present also when I'm talking to you, I could feel the warmth of the blood, and I could feel that something is going on. And I raised my leg and I saw there's no foot. And there's a huge femur bone that's completely exposed and in blood. And I knew that, oh, now it's gone.
We
I
wouldn't
knew
want
it.
you to go into if you, we wouldn't want you
I'm
to recollect
comfortable.
that.
I'm
Yeah.
actually comfortable with it. Don't worry. So
Yeah.
there was a group of morning walkers at that time, because it was 7 a.m. in the morning. So they rushed up to me and they were like, nahi nahi beta, aap mat dekho. And I was like, I already know what has happened. I have seen it.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I would request you to please take me to the hospital. So,
Mhm.
they immediately informed the nearest police station, and there was this police truck that came, and I was taken to the hospital. And
Mhm.
throughout that, I was completely conscious. I knew what was
Okay.
going around. And then one of the police officers happened to be my father's student.
Okay.
So before, because I was not comfortable sharing their number, because I didn't want them to go through this shock, a sudden shock that has
Mhm.
happened. So he immediately called my father that this is
Mhm.
something that has happened. And
Mhm.
as you can already imagine, like, it was a shock for the family that this is
Mhm.
she's going to prepare for an exam, and this is the news we are
Mhm.
getting.
Mhm.
So I was given the first aid in the hospital here itself, Government Medical College here in Jammu. And there was something like, there, because there was a lot of blood loss and the bone
Mhm.
was completely crushed, so there were no chances of saving the foot. So the doctors immediately, I still remember, Dr. Dara Singh was HOD at that time in the
Okay.
hospital.
Okay.
So an immediate decision was taken that he had an OT the same day. I was fortunate
Okay.
enough that he had OT the
Okay.
same day,
Okay.
and the surgery was performed in the afternoon. And a
Nice.
decision
Nice.
was taken that it will be an above knee amputation, because there was no chances, or there was no point of grafting or anything, because there was a lot
Mhm.
of tissue damage, and the knee had
Mhm.
was completely crushed. So
Mhm.
finally an above knee amputation was performed on the very same day. And
Mhm.
they wanted, my parents actually wanted to take me outside Jammu, but the blood loss was so much that it was not a good decision
Possible.
to actually move from here.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I was told that, be it any hospital in India, this is the same procedure that is going to be performed.
Okay.
So we took the decision, and then above knee amputation was performed. And yes, that's what, like, I mean, till that time, I would say I didn't realize what has happened, because for me it
Mhm.
was more of a trauma that time. And
Mhm.
it was difficult to take in. It was not something wherein I would say ki, acha,
Absolutely.
I couldn't analyze what has happened in the just few
Absolutely.
hours.
Acceptance doesn't come because we generally in life when such things happen. I've been reading stories of Apurvi Chandela. You must have know that shooter, and
Yeah.
she also met with some accident also, and she told that for a long part of her life she would not accept what has happened, and that acceptance kind of gives you trauma. So what kind of how did your parents support you in that phase, and how things were, how you came out as a champion after that incident, that kind of, I would say, life transforming. Many would succumb to, because I always believe the only disability is a bad attitude, a poor mind. And I think I take a bow, here. I have my
Mm,
salutations to you for the grit
thank
and the
you.
determination. I-
Thank you.
Absolutely, वो कहते हैं ना, परिंदों को मिलेगी एक दिन उनकी मंजिल, ये फैले हुए उनके पर बोलते हैं, वही शख्स रहता है खामोश ये अक्सर, जमाने में जिसके हुनर बोलते हैं. Ladies and gentlemen, this
Absolutely.
quote is absolutely apt on Kritika's grit and determination. And on behalf of all the audience who will be watching this, I bow down and in salutation. I mean, this is
Thank you so much.
absolutely, we are, these are the kind of heroes that we need actually. I mean, we don't need any titles, we don't need anything to make us great. This is the grit, this is the courage. And while you were telling, I was soaking it all in, and I was thinking how you had that courage during that time also to, you know, that shows the character, that the upbringing that your parents had. A lot of credit has to go to them also. But personally जो आपने जो दृढ़ इच्छा शक्ति अंदर से दिखाई है, वो मैं बता नहीं सकता. How much it has given me goosebumps and inspiration while I was listening to that story. So, how did you overcome? What were, if you could share the challenges that you face? Because there are a lot of people who may be facing some other difficulties in life, financial problems. Someone has failed in an examination. Someone has lost a loved one. So all these challenges we face in life, you know, see, there is darkness around. We need lighthouses like you. So that is the entire idea of this podcast, because we need people who have uh, overcome the circumstances which sometimes seems insurmountable, crossing those, you know, seven seas and scaling the Mount Everest. This is nothing. This is no meager achievement than that. So share the challenges that you failed. I would like to get into your mind, because that is what many other people would be facing in similar situations in life. So please let us go through your mind and how you overcame those, you know, challenges for the benefit of the audience.
So Navjot, the very first thing that hit me hard was to see my father crying in front of me. The very first thing that hit me hard that day was um, I didn't realize the pain I had until I saw him crying. It was the very first
Mhm.
moment when my father cried in those
Right.
years, in those 18 years. I saw tears in his eyes and I could hear him, just, that there's something gulping inside him and he's in pain.
Absolutely.
And he just kept holding my hand throughout the first aid that happened. And every time he was like, कोई बात नहीं, अभी पेन कम हो जाएगा, we are just going through the procedures, you'll be fine, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. But I could see that, he's consoling me, but he's not fine. Right, my mother, I still remember, she heard me screaming because that first aid was very painful.
Mhm.
That's how
Mhm.
the pain exaggerates
Right.
after few minutes
Yeah,
and few hours. And I
absolutely.
was crying like hell because I just wanted this pain to be over.
Mhm.
And even after, because no painkillers would be given at that moment until unless everything was, examined and
Mhm.
everything was
Mhm.
sorted. No painkiller was given until
Mhm.
that time.
Right. Okay.
So, you can imagine the bottles of spirits and, infectants being just poured on your leg completely to so that the gangrene doesn't affect or some infection
Mhm.
doesn't happen.
Mhm.
So, it was very traumatic. I would say I can still hear my cries when I talk about this because
Mhm.
I was never such kind of a person. I was a very
Right.
brave girl, I would say. I was very strong since childhood. Even while playing, if something would happen, I would never cry about it. I would get out of
Mhm.
the situation. Once, like I was walking somewhere and a nail, just got into my foot.
Mhm.
And I still remember I was, I think, 12 or 13 years old at that time. I was playing outdoors
Mhm.
and I didn't even scream. I took out the entire
Mhm.
nail myself and I'm like, I'm fine.
Wow.
Chalo ghar.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I was that kind of a girl, who would never,
Mhm.
you know,
Dhakad is the right word for you.
Dhakad kind of a person I was actually. I was never called a girl. People treated me like a boy. Most of the times I
Okay.
was like that. So,
Okay.
I would take my cycle early in the morning and I was in Trikutanagar and you will find me in Rihadi with my cycle at my
Mhm.
mamu's place.
Mhm.
And they used to be like, ye
Mhm.
abhi kahan se subah subah aa gaye? And I was in just in
Mhm.
sixth standard. I'm talking about that
Okay.
time. So for
Okay.
me, it
Okay.
was like, कोई challenge बड़ा नहीं है. You
Absolutely.
just, I was like धाकड़ वाला, बिल्कुल धाकड़ वाला scene.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So when this thing happened, Dhakad girl was shaken, I must say. I was in a lot of trauma at that time, lot of trauma.
Mhm.
And the
Mhm.
worst part was when your, relatives and your friends and the society starts influencing things more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's the worst part. They won't come to console you. They'll actually, add fuel to the fire. That's what they
Aggravate,
do.
they aggravate it. They
They
aggravate the
do
situation.
aggravate. They do aggravate. So
Yes.
till then, too, everything was fine. When the surgery happened, I regained my conscious after a day, and all I could hear was, the relatives or the, neighbors coming around and saying, "Oh ho, kya ho gaya? Iski to zindagi kharab ho gayi hai. Arey baap re, ab." And people were like, "Ab isse kaun shaadi karega?" I mean, come on, an 18 years old girl
That's the only
who's
thing. That's the
fighting
only
for
thing you can think
life,
about.
who's
Seriously, Matlab.
fighting for life, and somebody comes up and questions this. And it actually made my parents, more, they were in a lot
Protective.
of pain because of that, because what people started pouring in added more of it, so that actually aggravated a lot. I
Yeah.
still remember there was one lady, who happens to be our neighbor, came down and told my mother that, अब तो इसकी ज़िंदगी पूरी तरह से ख़त्म है, and no boy is going to get married to her, but I have a, रिश्ता for her. The boy is polio affected with two legs. He's in Bangalore, and the time she gets better, I'll go and speak to the family. And I remember
Mhm.
there was a turn doctor standing right next to me. Before I could reply, he replied, आंटी वो
Mhm.
बचेगी भी या नहीं हमें ये नहीं पता है, and this is a shit you are talking when you come down on this,
Absolutely.
place.
That is that is angering me also while listening to
that
this. This
that was
absolute
something which was
disgust.
never expected from anyone on such a place where the person is, with those drips. And
Insensitivity is too much in the people. I mean, I don't
lot people are
understand.
lot insensitive. This is just, I would say a drop in the ocean. I'm talking about, there was an ocean
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was waiting for
yeah,
me.
yeah.
In the real world, everything was waiting.
Mhm.
And I was very silent. I was very quiet. I said, I'm not going to answer to any of this. I'll just be with myself, because at present, recovery is more important for me. And my
Absolutely, absolutely.
parents are supposed to understand this, that I am okay, so that they feel
Mhm.
okay with it. So
Yes.
the hospital period was very tough. I
Mhm.
think 28 days I didn't see the sun. I was completely
Okay.
indoor in that, four walls
Yeah.
of the room that was given to us. And
Mhm.
you can very well imagine a girl who would not sit at one place, who was bedridden for a very long time, for almost six
Right.
months. I was on bed.
Okay.
And it's very hurting to see, your parents do everything for you, because
Mhm.
you're helpless.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
even, getting a glass of water was a challenge, because I would have to
Yeah.
ask for it
Right.
every
Right.
time. And I would see
Right.
my mother going through that thing, taking care of me, doing the household chores. She had taken leave from the school, and
Mhm.
she was to
Mhm.
take care of my family as well, my brother as well. So it was very painful during that time.
Mhm.
But the challenges were actually waiting. The
Mhm.
real chapters had to open up. Every
Mhm.
day it had to open up. So
Mhm.
after these 28 days, I was out of the hospital. I was at home. My brother used to be very sweet to me. He would sit around me,
Mhm.
and we would try to relive the moments, because we
Yeah.
used to be very active. So उसको वो अच्छा नहीं लगता था कि ये बेड पे लेटी हुई है और हम कुछ कर नहीं पा रहे हैं. So he would do some kind of shararat and all, and then
Mhm.
sometimes I would be in pain, and then he would feel very sorry कि I'm sorry मैं तुझे तंग कर रहा हूँ and all, but because that's how
Making you
siblings
laugh
are.
or something. Yeah.
He would
Distracting
try
you.
to, yes, he would try
Distracting.
to distract me, but then he would feel very bad when I would go in pain, and you would see him also sitting next to me and crying, and then he'll be like, don't worry, तू ठीक हो जाएगी, थोड़ा जल्दी ठीक हो जाएगी, I'm pretty sure of that. And
Mhm.
that love, the support you get from your family actually heals you way better than the
Mhm.
hospital does.
Mhm.
I would say the
Right.
doctors do.
Right.
Your
Right. Right.
family is
Right.
always, they love, and they are the healers. They are the real healers in your
Absolutely.
life.
Absolutely.
So things started working. Then I was put onto crutches. My father taught
Mhm.
me how to walk on crutches. My brother used to be there for me all the time.
Mhm.
So crutches was a little difficult for me because I had to walk slowly, slowly, slowly. वो भागने वाला
Mhm.
काम खत्म हो गया हुआ था completely.
Mhm.
So it was
Mhm.
one step at a day. And I would feel happy that I could go to the kitchen and get myself a glass of water.
Mhm.
I could use the
Mhm.
washroom myself. So, yes, the crutches were the, I think, first helpers, the real
Mhm.
supporters in my life
Mhm.
after my
Mhm.
family. So, when I
Mhm.
started working, I tried to complete my studies because my 12th exams were hampered because of this.
Right.
So,
Right. Right.
I finished up my exams the same year. I gave the biannuals and I went to appear for the exams. And I still remember there also some episode happened, which was again a trauma for me because
Mhm.
going to the school itself was a challenge because now I was,
Yeah.
that happened after 6 months and I was using a prosthetic at that time, and that was Jaipur foot. And the
Okay.
Jaipur foot itself weighed 13 kgs.
Okay.
So I was carrying those 13 kgs and walking with it was a disaster.
Yeah.
I had to drag myself all the time. So
Mhm.
I went to the school, somehow managed to give the exams. And there was this teacher who came up and told me, "क्या हुआ? Fail हो गई? और जाके नाच." That's what she said.
What nonsense is that?
And she didn't realize that I'm the same girl whose stories were being circulated in the school. That there's a girl who met with an
Yeah.
accident. She didn't realize I was the same girl. But it was very
Okay.
insensitive of
You
her
shouldn't say
to
this to
come
any.
up and
You
say,
shouldn't say this to
"Beat
anyone.
anyone, beat
Least,
anyone."
yeah, least to
Yeah.
someone who's met with an accident. I
And
mean,
I was in shock. That too coming from a teacher was something,
yeah.
oh no, no, this is not expected out of you. And she walked away and I think she went to the staff room and somebody told her that she's the girl.
Mhm.
She came back crying. She was actually on her knees, though I didn't
Mhm.
like that, but she was crying and she was begging for forgiveness. And I only told her,
Mhm.
I said, just be empathetic. That's it,
Mhm.
to everyone you come across.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
she did feel sorry about it, but that's how life is. I think there are a lot of people, you
You
cannot
can't
teach
change.
people, you
Uh,
cannot
yeah.
change certain things. So I gave the exams, and I think many challenges were waiting at that time. Many challenges because I went to the college. My classes were on the first floor, and then the second class was in one corner of the college. So, going upstairs and coming down and going to the other end of the college was a huge challenge for me. I would cry like hell. And there was this friend who would always be there for me. She would miss out her classes to be with me all the time. And then finally we took a decision that it's okay to take up some other studies because this is not working, the
Mhm.
college is not working for
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
So I decided to do, because I was very passionate about drawings and sketching everything since
Mhm.
childhood. That is the another
Mhm.
aspect you would see. More
Yeah,
of a
yeah.
creative person also.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
We'll go
finally
into
I
that
took up
also.
this. Yeah, so finally I took up bachelor's in multimedia, and the passion for
Mhm.
cartoons and animations was, there in the frame, which my parents didn't
Mhm.
like at all
Mhm.
because for
Mhm.
them studies meant something different.
Yeah.
So that was another fight that I had to, actually take up, and I won
Convince
actually.
them.
My parents did support me after that when they saw that I'm
Yeah.
doing good in that.
Mhm.
And then I started working at, I think, 22 years of age. I was working already. I started taking up classes in the
Oh,
same college I was studying. So
wow.
the staff was very supportive, and the students were very supportive of me being around them. So they would always
Mhm.
create an atmosphere where I was very comfortable and I was being taken care of. I was more pampered during that time as a
Right,
teacher
right,
also. But
right.
yes, I would say. It's very hard to take up these challenges when the society around you, the people around you are ready with a sword that anytime they're going to stab you. But all you have to do
Mhm.
is just stay calm and believe in yourself rather than believing in what they say. So that's the obstacles and the challenges. I think if I could go on, the
Mhm.
time would be way less to talk about certain things. But yes, these are
Yeah.
certain things that did happen during that.
So what is the message? I mean, you would like to give out of, because overcoming that challenge is a great victory in itself. So, what is the message to people who are facing various kinds of challenges, including these kinds of challenges? What is that one thought that you want to give to them while they are feeling low? When someone taunts them, someone gives very not so nice comments. What is that one idea you want to leave them with now that you overcome that? What should they think about? How should they react to such situation so that they are more in harmony with their own self rather than being impacted by what others say?
Fairly think the very first thing would be to accept yourself just the way you
Right.
are. You
Right.
are unique. You are a well, I would say, like, the creator has made you in a unique way. All of us are unique. That's the biggest blessing we all have.
Absolutely.
My brother is not like me. My sister is not going to like me, or anybody is not going to be like me. I'm unique.
Mhm.
So in the first
Yes.
place, accept yourself the way you are. That's the
Mhm.
biggest thing you can do. And the
True.
biggest blessing you can give yourself in your life is accepting yourself.
True.
Secondly, nobody's perspective defines you. You need to know about your qualities. कोई बाहर से आके कह जाता है आप सुंदर नहीं हो, किसने रूल सेट किए,
Absolutely.
किसने वो रूल्स बनाए? You
Yes.
give them the right because you are conscious about yourself. अगर आप ही conscious नहीं हो, the beauty will be different. You will
Mhm.
glow, you will shine, and you will outshine in the crowd when you know who you are. डीप विद इन
True.
ऑल ऑफ अस नो कि वो होता है ना बचपन में, जैसे हम सबको पता होता है कि हमारे अंदर ना एक मैजिक पावर है, वो अभी नहीं
Mhm.
आ रही है, कुछ देर के बाद आएगी. आई थिंक दैट एवरी चाइल्ड फैसिनेट्स, व्हेन यू लुक एट दी सुपर हीरोज एंड ऑल ऑफ अस से कि हमारे अंदर भी कोई शक्ति है. सो दैट शक्ति इज यूनिक टू योरसेल्फ. ऑल यू हैव टू डू इज
Mhm.
खुद को वो पहचानना है that I am
Right.
capable enough, and
Right.
nobody's set of rules defines who I am.
Right.
सो खुद को पहचानो, खुद जुआरी बनो, इस हीरे को तराशो जो एक्चुअल में आप
Accept.
हो.
Accept करो
That's
खुद को, सबसे important. Accept.
exactly. And trust me, the day you accept yourself, this world cannot bring you down. Nobody can bring you down. And the
Absolutely.
belief, the faith you have in yourself is equal to having faith in God. एंड
Yes.
जैसे हम मतलब हमारे बड़े बुजुर्ग भी कहते हैं ना कि अगर भगवान आपको कोई मुश्किल देता है ना, तो उसको उस दुःख को काटने की हिम्मत भी देता है। वो
Mhm.
डेफ़िनेटली देता है, एंड आई रियलाइज्ड इट द डे आई सॉ मायसेल्फ इन ब्लड. आई डिडन्ट
Mhm.
स्क्रीम, आई डिडन्ट क्राई, आई वाज़ काम बिकॉज़ कहीं न कहीं वो शक्ति आपको मिलती है. इट्स इन देयर.
Tough times don't make you, they reveal you. They
They
reveal what you are
actually
going.
reveal. And
They
I
reveal
would
the
say something here, Navjot. I would say मुझे नहीं पता था मैं कौन हूँ till the time I met with this accident.
true,
I
true,
found myself. I didn't lose myself in the journey. I found myself in the journey.
true. I
And
totally agree.
ये जो tough times होते हैं ना, they reveal your inner potential. They reveal your capabilities. हम लोग कई बारी किसी चीज में ना बहुत ज्यादा डूब जाते हैं, हमें ध्यान नहीं रहता कि सॉल्यूशन भी हमने ही निकालना है. But
True,
the
true.
moment you sleep on it, or you, let's say, na,
Mhm.
people say let's sleep over it. Sometimes
Yeah,
that sleep brings out the solution.
absolutely,
You have to
absolutely.
leave it, like let it go. Let's see how it is
True.
going to go. So
So,
sometimes the solution comes back to you.
yeah, yeah,
That
true, true.
calmness, that
Success.
strength, everything comes back.
True, absolutely, absolutely correct. You very rightly summed up and brought this. Adversity causes some women to break and others to break records. One of them is sitting with us today, Kritika. So, ladies and gentlemen, such stories are there for you for the taking. The only thing is you have to imbibe these qualities. As Kritika rightly mentioned, accept yourself first. अपने आप को सबसे पहले अपनाइए, अपने आप से प्यार कीजिए. और उसके बाद आप बाकी जो एक्सटर्नल नॉइज है उसको ब्लाइंड कर दीजिए, आगे बढ़िए अपने लक्ष्य की ओर. और जरूर ऐसी इंस्पिरेशन लेके आप आगे बढ़ेंगे तो जिंदगी में अपने लक्ष्य को आप जरूर पार कर पाएंगे. नाउ फ्रॉम overcoming this challenge, now we move to the brighter side of things. When you ventured into your job and you created a lot of firsts in various fields. So let's first talk about your rowing journey. I mean, you have India's first female rower for the audience. So So please tell us how you kind of diverted to this field, and what got you into this, the inspiration behind this.
I would say rowing just happened to me. And I was never focused on anything of this sort. I didn't even have it in mind all the years. But when I said I accepted myself and I, came out to the into the world actually, I decided to get back to the fitness levels, which were reducing because of, a very
Yeah.
sedentary lifestyle now. So I
Right.
decided to go back to the fitness and I started searching about the gyms in the area. Okay. So that was another challenge that I faced because many gyms trainers would actually say, "नहीं नहीं 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 ये तो बहुत बड़ा risk है. You should we cannot
Mm-hmm.
train you. You should not be here in the
Yeah.
gym." So
Mm-hmm.
2, 3 gym actually didn't accept the thing that they could
Mm-hmm.
train me. So there was one gym in the city which accepted, and firstly they were very reluctant of the thought that नहीं 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 ये तो बहुत risky होगा. And I said, "You be the trainer, I'll be the trainee. Okay, just be the trainer. I need a teacher. That's it."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "आप exercise बताओ. अब उसको कैसे करना है वो मैं decide करूंगी. The
Right.
point is that I'm supposed to work a certain muscle. अब उसको
Yes.
मैं मॉडिफाई कर सकती हूँ. I'll find an
Right.
alternate to it. You just guide me."
Right.
So there was
Right.
one gym who actually accepted, this fact. And 15 days of training me, the person comes up to me and says, "You are the best trainee I could have in the entire gym." And that was the
Mm-hmm.
first pat I gave to myself. That good job, girl. You've
Mm-hmm.
actually made yourself proud. And when
Yeah.
this thing happened, after a few months, I started recording videos and
Okay.
putting it on social media. My friend would
Right.
cover it up for me, and they would record the videos when I would work out and all. So the moment we shared it on social media, there were a lot of people who started connecting with me. A lot of
Right.
women came out,
Right.
not only the specially able, but everybody came out. And
Right.
the only word they said was, "You give us strength. You are
Absolutely.
the reason we go on social media and see what you are doing." And the next morning, I get up. The first thought that comes to my mind is you. And I was like, wow. I didn't take it as a compliment. I took it as a responsibility now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I started putting up more videos on social media. And then the Rowing Federation of India got in touch with me. There's Colonel
Okay.
Gaurav Datta. He
Okay.
saw my video and he contacted me through social media saying that we are looking for para rowing team from India, but
Mm-hmm.
we need a female para rower in the first place to begin with.
Okay. Okay.
So he said, "You go around and search the entire internet and see what this sport is, because this is a tough sport." I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Okay." I happened to go on the Google and check, and I found that this is world's third toughest sport. And I'm like, बचपन से तो रो your boat ही सुना था. ये sport भी है was something like the school time से हम लोग वो केरला की boats देखते थे. तो नहीं
Right. Right.
पता था that this is an Olympic level sport also.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, okay. And then I spoke to him and he said, "If you do it, you become the first lady from the country to take up this sport."
Absolutely.
And the very first thing that clicked to my mind was the ladies who were texting me on social media. So I was like, let's do it for them. Let's do it for them, because somewhere it was a responsibility I was carrying on my shoulders after these
True.
ladies were connecting with me. And
True. True.
secondly, I would say the girl who had lost her identity in the hospital, wherein Kritika Khanna was not the name was "एक handicap लड़की है." ओहो
Mm-hmm.
ये तो handicap लड़की है. So, in a minute, the identity I had lost, this was the time
Mm-hmm.
to regain the identity and make Kritika
Right.
Khanna a name. So, I did not want that thing कि अब मेरे को disability से define करना बंद कर दो. I have a name
Mm-hmm.
and I would request all of you to call me by my name.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that was the second thing that came to my mind, and I took it up and I was like, okay, I'm ready to take up this challenge. So after
Mm-hmm.
6 months, I trained in the gym. I was given certain exercises to, strengthen my muscles and build up endurance. And then I happened to be called for Asian Games camp with the fellow the rowers actually, the Indian team. And I go to Pune at the army rowing node, and I see these, 6 feet ke jawan, and the girls
Mhm.
also 6 foot ki ladkiyan, and good strong builds, and they are rowing, and I was the chutka one amongst them.
Mhm.
I was the shortest one in the entire the army rowing node, and everybody was like, "Ye aayi hai, ye karegi."
Mhm.
And I used to be like, "Hey
Mhm.
Bhagwan, I mean, how am I going to match these people?" And then another para rower was called because a team was to be built. Two of us started
Mhm.
rowing. He was an army jawan, but thankfully he was a short-heighted jawan. मुझसे लंबे थे, लेकिन at least we were
Mhm.
a good pair.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
we started. I was trained with the jawans, and the army was training me. I was under them, and 3 4 months I was given a good training, and I was a non-swimmer, but I still
Okay.
remember, my Colonel Gaurav Datta saying कि पानी पे तो ऐसे जाती है जैसे पता नहीं कब से बोट चलाती है. And I used to feel so proud of it. So this happened, and then unfortunately there was a drowning episode that happened. The boat capsized, and I had this
Mhm.
fear of water for almost like 6 months. एंड
Mhm.
देन अगेन इट वाज लाइक कि एक और लाइफ चैलेंज दे रही है तो चलो इसके साथ भी थोड़ा
Accepted.
लड़ते हैं भिड़ते हैं. कोई
Accepted.
बात नहीं, थोड़ा
Accepted.
प्रॉब्लम होगा, बट देन आई एम श्योर यू विल वॉक
Absolutely.
आउट ऑफ इट. So
Mhm.
we couldn't go for the Asian Games at that time because unfortunately the camp was cancelled for certain reasons.
Mhm.
And then we came back. I started training again on the waters, and this happened like this Asian Championship 2019 came. There were two other rowers with us. We were a team of four, and we happened to represent India for the Asian Championship 2019 in South Korea. And the very first attempt was like a bronze medal for us, and we were like, "Huh, ho
Wow,
gaya."
that's lovely. That's lovely.
So it was the eve of Diwali, I guess, and I was like, "Wow, Diwali का इससे बड़ा gift तो कोई नहीं हो सकता खुद को, you know."
Breaking
And
stereotypes and how, you know, breaking stereotypes and how.
exactly. And I still remember because that journey was also not easy. Trust me.
Yeah.
The racing day, day before, I think the semifinals, I was down with 103 fever, a very bad
Okay.
throat, and the temperatures were very low in Korea because there were winters. And the racing day also, I was again with fear, down with fever. I sat in the boat. I was taken out, put in the nearest, dispensary kind of a thing that we had there at the, and
Mm.
I was into electric blankets, and everything was thrown on me to keep me warm. And I was like, um, of course, that was a win of entire team, but I still remember Colonel calling me up the very moment we won this medal. Colonel gave up a call, and he video called, and he said, "You have done it. The team has done it, of course, but it's your win in the first place because the
Absolutely.
challenges you fought throughout." It was
Absolutely.
more like a dramatic kind of a movie चल रही थी कि एक के बाद एक problem आ रही है, and this is happening.
Absolutely. Such a
But I
brave person you
think
are. A brave person you are.
it was like, that's what I told you. God gives you strength every time.
Mhm.
I still remember जब मैं बोर्ड पे बैठी थी ना, I used to recite हनुमान चालीसा कि please,
Okay.
I should not give hope. I should be there.
Mhm.
And the
Mhm.
moment you see that, national flag being hoisted at an international land,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
you people become the reason for it because there you were not known by your name. No Kritika,
India.
no other team member.
India.
You were called
India.
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 And I think you were shouldering responsibility like a soldier in the Indian army. The feeling of, that, ये देशभक्ति वाला scene था हमारा वहाँ पे, like, that we are Indians. And that's how they
Absolutely.
call us Team India, Team India, Team India. And used to feel proud like hell. And the moment I remember holding the national flag and getting a picture clicked, oh my God, that was like, girl, जितना पेन तुमने पिछला देखा है,
That's
it's
all
gone.
worth it.
It's
All worth it.
completely worth it. Because that moment was when I actually said, thank you, God. Thank you so much. Why? Because I thought this disability is, like a mark, a curse, but it turned into a blessing for me. So it was a blessing in disguise, which I
You
realized
turned it,
years later.
you turned it into a blessing actually. Uh,
I won't say I turned it, but the God gave me strength to turn it into that
the
because
heavens, the heavens, they conspire when we move in the right direction.
exactly,
We have our
exactly,
heart in the right place. Heavens conspire. वो ये ना
absolutely,
गिरते गिरते हैं शहसवार मैदानी जंग में वो तिफल क्या लड़ेंगे जो घुटनों के बल चला करते हैं.
बिल्कुल,
So
बिल्कुल.
see, I'm bringing out the poet in me not so often because I am inspired all through the
Oh,
conversation. Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
it's
This is
good.
absolutely a revelation of sorts. Moving on to, I mean, there's a huge list of achievements that you have, and you're an inspiration for all of us. You are also a TED Talk speaker for the audience. So, what was that experience like? You're venturing into, you are an MBA, you are a rower, you are a banker, you are a lot of things you are. So, tell us about this TEDx journey, your TEDx journey.
TEDx was again a surprise to me because the person who had actually recommended my name is a senior journalist in Times Now. And
Okay,
I was surprised the person had referred my name from Ukraine. The person
okay.
was, he was covering Ukraine war at that time. And he had referred my name because somebody had contacted him for a speaker or somebody. And he referred my name sitting in Ukraine.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
was altogether like कि ये तो अपने आप एक बहुत बड़ा medal है that somebody sitting and covering war remembers you here
Absolutely.
in Jammu. Okay. So again, because you know that is the platform where you get to connect to so many people and you pour
Absolutely.
your heart out completely and people resonate and they listen to you. So I
Mhm.
was like, this is a wonderful opportunity which has to be taken so that it's the time to reach out to masses now because TEDx is that
Mhm.
everybody listens to. So that was a wonderful platform I experienced, and I was able to talk about my journey, and it was altogether amazing experience because the moment you start getting response from the audience, there was pin drop silence in the auditorium when I was talking. I was like, this is in itself a huge achievement that everybody's listening to you and they're not busy on their own. So TEDx was again, I would say, another milestone I was able to achieve. Yeah, so it was a wonderful
So
experience.
you, so you are that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we lost you in between. So
Yeah.
you are now that red dot speaker as well. Speaking on that red dot, that hallowed platform that we get to express our ideas. So,
Yes.
wearing so many hats, you have been an avid marathoner, special invitee by Kunwarani Ritu Singh at the Hari Nivas Marathon. You have been invited as chief guest to various platforms that I can see. I mean, how do you manage all this? And if you tell that class 12 girl who had people were like written her off. I mean, what would you tell to those people now? I mean, who they are in for a show. They're in for a big show right now.
Actually, I didn't have to go back and tell them anything because your actions speak louder than your words.
Yeah,
So the
absolutely.
actions were enough to, give them that message or give them the answer of the questions they were throwing at that time on my parents and me as well. So, the lady I was talking about, after I won this medal, she brought her children to our house and said, "Is Didi se kuch seekho," was in itself a
Mhm.
huge answer to what she had
That's
said at that time.
world
So I
coming up full
never,
circle. World
yes,
coming up
like
full circle.
always, always, it always happens. So when you feel so good, the school you were studying in invites you as guest of honor for their sports day इज लाइक वाओ मतलब वो होता है ना बचपन में आप ग्राउंड में बैठे होते हो और आप चीफ गेस्ट को देखते हो आते हो एंड यू आर लाइक कभी हम भी ऐसे होंगे एंड दैट ड्रीम
Right,
कम्स ट्रू
right.
immediately in front of you and you are like wow that's the manifestation happens every minute and
For the audience, there are, I think, some many dozen events that she has been invited as a chief guest. So if I start listing that, I think
uh,
the entire time will go in that. To mention a few, I mean, she also walked the ramp as well.
yes yes
So how many? So
I did
what is left? What is left for Kritika Khanna to do?
a lot
Absolutely.
a lot is there I mean like
Miles to
every
go.
day
Miles to go.
yeah,
Miles
there
to
are
go before
miles
I
to go,
sleep.
miles to go
Miles to
before I sleep.
go.
Absolutely. So it's
About the
just
ramp
like for me, it's a beginning. It's a
yeah, yeah,
beginning to
absolutely.
many bigger things. For the
Absolutely,
ramp,
absolutely.
I would say, the ramp is always a place where there's a lot of stereotyping. The
Mm-hmm.
models and the zero figures and everything, which is like, damn, I don't care. So
Sorry for
walking
interrupting.
those ramps,
Sorry for interrupting you there, but our Jammu di Kudi is breaking all stereotypes.
I would love to. I mean, like, you bring it on the table and I'll just be there. So it's not that it gradually happens. You would say when you are on the ramp, the entire audience are looking at you. So that's the time where you can break those stereotypes and tell people that, you know, this is me. This is who I am. And I feel proud to be walking the ramp and being in front of all of you, being the center stage, you can say, being in the spotlight. So
Mm-hmm.
I think ramp was one of the thing wherein I really wanted to go and walk so that people can come out and
Yes,
not be conscious. The girls, the teenagers would be conscious about how they look. This is happening. Baal yahan se ho rahe hain, ye ho raha hai, wo ho raha hai. It's like this is me, and I'm happy. So I
that's
walked the
what.
ramp for many of those children and many of those women who were more conscious about themselves. It's like, yes, let's break the ceiling and chalo, let's walk the ramp. So I think that was the first ramp I did, and then fortunately, for the past, I think almost four ramp walks have happened after that. And recently, we had this Vyom Purple Festival that is organized by Social Welfare
Mhm.
Department throughout the
Right, right.
country. This is going to be organized now. Goa happened to be the second, place where this was organized. So again, we
Right.
walked the ramp for that also, wherein all the specially able children actually walked the ramp. So it was a beautiful event that happened. And you see people with different disabilities are just walking the ramp and they were enjoying. I was enjoying watching those children walk the ramps
Right.
and the wheelchairs and the crutches and everything. It's like, come on, this is my world and I'm going to
Celebrate your
conquer it.
uniqueness. Celebrate your
Absolutely.
uniqueness.
Absolutely. Why not? Why not?
As Dr. Vikram Sarabhai at the launch of India's first space rocket from Thumba, he mentioned that sky is not the limit. It is just the beginning. And I think this one
Absolutely.
absolutely fits you because you're breaking, so you're charting new paths for a lot of young women out there who are battling a lot of challenges, maybe financial challenges, maybe not
Yes.
support from their family, society really, rallying against them. Those glass ceilings, you're breaking that all at once, and that's a great inspiration for all of us. And
Thank
along
you
with
so
that,
much.
tell us about this special ability cell that you headed at FICCI FLO Jammu and Kashmir Ladakh chapter.
Peaky Flow. Flow is basically this is the female-oriented organization being run for Industries and Commerce Department. So Flow is basically completely women oriented. So a lot of women entrepreneurs and business houses walk into that. So I happen to head the vertical for specially abled, wherein specially abled women were brought on the platform. Their businesses
Mm-hmm.
were brought on the platform, wherein if they're entrepreneurs or they want to open something, they want to be they want to have their startups and everything. So we
Mm-hmm.
were getting all of those ladies onto the platform so that there can be an inclusive atmosphere. Like when we
Mm-hmm.
talk about entrepreneurs, doesn't mean that certain people are not supposed to be there, right? So it was wherein I was heading the department in the way that I wanted to create that inclusive atmosphere for everyone. So we were
Right,
getting
right.
the specially able ladies also on the platform to be part of other entrepreneurs and other developing skills and everything. So this happened again. Kuvrani Ritu Singh ji was heading the Fiki
Mm-hmm.
Flow Jammu
Yeah,
chapter at that time.
yeah. She's
So
leading that.
yes. So I was also called on the platform, and she said, you could be the real hero of these ladies, whereas I wanted them to be the real heroes, and that is what we made sure we did. And we took up the matters to LG also. We discussed about accessibility problems with him, and
Mm-hmm.
we were fortunate enough that post our discussions, a lot of ramps were built around the area. A lot of shopping places had the ramps. Even
Yeah,
the
I was about to come to that. I mean,
Mm, yeah,
we are facing a lot. See, all our infrastructure that has not been tuned to specially able friendly. We see in universities there is a provision, but then they are not properly implemented. So, what is your thing? What is it that the government needs to do, and what is that societal mindset needs to change so that this problems that you had to face, the people, so someone else may not be as strong as you are and may not get that kind of
absolutely
support from the family also. So
true.
for those girls and boys and people out there, so what is the message to the society? Also, what is that government needs to do?
See, first of all, I would say the aids that are required for specially able people should be made easily available to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens is, even if I talk about my prosthetic, it costs around 10 to 12 lakhs. And you have
Okay.
to change it every 6 to 7 years, keeping in
Okay.
view the, the quality that is there of the
Mm-hmm.
prosthetic. And
Mm-hmm.
on top of
Mm-hmm.
it, GST is being charged on these prosthetics also.
That is not
So
a good idea.
it's not a good thing that's happening, right? the
Mm-hmm.
the aids, be it any kind, should be easily available at a reasonable cost and quality
Mm-hmm.
products, right? Because when you go out and see people distributing wheelchairs, I've seen a lot of people do that, and the moment the patient sits on the wheelchair, hardly the wheelchair would go around a kilometer and it would start falling apart. So what is the point? What's
Mm-hmm.
the
No point.
point? There's no point, right? The quality of the product should be maintained. The insurance companies should be covering all these aids, which they do not do.
Right.
So there's no
Right.
insurance available for any prosthetic or any aids that are being given to us. Secondly, the accessibility. What happens is, wherein, during my school days, there was a girl who was lifted by her father from the car, taken 3 floors upstairs to the class, and then he would repeat it in the afternoon during the lunch break so that her girl could enjoy the lunch break with other
Yeah.
children. Again,
Right.
he would come back in the afternoon to take her back to home, right? So that is when I'm talking about years back, when people were
Yeah.
not aware of certain
Aware,
things.
aware, aware enough.
Now they are. And thankfully, when I visited convent school, I could see ramps. I could see a lot
Okay.
of ramps around.
That's
So even
that's
the
good.
third floor had ramp accessibility, so that the
So
wheelchairs can easily
Presentation
commute.
Convent is a really good institution, but for the other schools like the
Others.
hinterland,
Now,
they,
yes. Now
you
coming
come
to,
to
yes.
Rajouri, Punch, Surancoat, and somewhere in Doda.
उन्हें तो
So
पता ही नहीं है. उन्हें तो पता ही
exactly,
नहीं है. The
yeah.
problem is educating people. The
Mhm.
problem is bringing such children in front of everyone so that the other children around can understand how to behave with certain people.
Right.
What happens is, when there's a disabled person in the family, the very first thing that is being done by the parents is to keep their children hidden.
Yeah.
बाहर लोगों को पता नहीं चलना चाहिए कि हमारे घर में एक
Mhm.
ऐसा बच्चा है.
Mhm.
What happens is, when the child goes out, he's treated like an outcast.
Yes.
Why? Because the other child is not aware of this thing. उसे
Right.
पता ही नहीं है कि मुझे इस बच्चे के साथ बात कैसे करनी है.
True.
या फिर उनके पेरेंट्स उनको पीछे खींच लेंगे कि नहीं 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 नहीं, उसके
Mhm.
साथ नहीं खेलना है.
Mhm.
So what happens is, there's a lot of lack of education, lack of
True.
awareness. The
Yes.
things that can be inculcated in the child from the very beginning are done years later.
Mhm.
Now it doesn't work. Because आपको मैं बता रही हूँ कि अभी भी कुछ लोग आकर मुझसे ऐसे ऐसे सवाल करते हैं, एंड आई एम लाइक कंप्लीटली कि भाई ये कौन सा पैरामीटर है. Can you imagine at the
Yeah.
airport,
Yeah.
a lady comes up to you and says, "आप तो इतने सुंदर हो, आपके साथ ये कैसा हो गया?" Hey, what's the logic? What's the logic
That's
behind
rubbish.
it?
That's rubbish.
That's completely rubbish. Because
Absolutely.
that's how things have been inculcated in our society. कभी इस
I think
चीज को empathetically approach किया ही नहीं गया. कभी नहीं किया गया.
yeah, at the
Whereas,
core, sadism comes. People are sadists at the core. I
exactly,
mean, they don't understand
exactly.
the problems that others are facing. Yeah.
That's the point. So when your child is curious about the other child, educate your child. so that he knows how he has to treat the other child who is going through this kind of a problem or is in a
Exactly.
wheelchair, right? I have my niece at home, okay? She has seen me in prosthetic. Though she being an army child, she's been posted outside, but she knows that I use a prosthetic. She knows I use crutches. That child is
Right.
very sensitive towards it. Very sensitive. Because
Absolutely.
every now and then she was educated about it. I
Hmm.
cannot tell you that little girl calls my prosthetic a fairy leg because
Wow,
she
that's
thinks it has magic powers. So she calls it a
absolutely
fairy leg.
such a
So
such a lovely perspective.
that's the perspective every child should have. And when
Absolutely.
she
Not
goes
just the
into
child.
her school,
I would say everyone. Everyone. I think,
everyone,
and
because
this.
this is a power that has been given to that specially abled person. That's why
Yeah.
they are called
Yeah.
divyang. We call them, they have divya ang,
Yes. Yes.
divyang.
Yes.
So it's like,
Yes.
they are already fighting for, through, they're going through so much of turmoil around them and everything is like a mess. Your smile, your kind words can
Can help
change the
them.
person, completely
Absolutely.
change the person, and make them feel comfortable and at ease. So when I go out, I'm confident enough to walk out of the house where my prosthetic is visible to everyone. But the people are not comfortable.
Yeah. They are.
I become the
Might be.
center of attraction for everybody. But though I
Hmm.
enjoy it now, I used to be very conscious earlier. Now I walk out as a celebrity ki dekhna hai to dekho.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is. See, owning yourself is very very
that
important.
that's what that's how things change when you do this for yourself. But not everybody can do it. So all we can do is make the person feel included in the society.
Right. Right. Right.
Not treat them like an outcast. Like, come on,
Yes. Yes.
I'm still the same human being.
Absolutely.
I've lost a leg, but I breathe air. I eat.
But
I sleep.
I mean, you're much stronger than many people out there who
But
will
not
you
everybody comes onto this platform.
who would who would trip at very very small things, having
Even in the
everything. We have
routine lives. Let's say
yeah,
not
we have
just the
everything.
specially abled, it's with everybody. हम
Yeah,
लोगों
it's
को
with everybody.
एक चीज पे रोना बहुत जल्दी आता है.
किसी को
It's
आईफोन
okay
नहीं
to
मिल
be
गया,
sensitive.
किसी को आईफोन नहीं मिला तो घर वालों को जान पे सूली चढ़ा देंगे. तो इस
That
तरह
is
ना
what
ये
is happening.
that attitude should go. That attitude should go.
Because we have forgotten to enjoy the smaller things in life. For us,
Mhm.
materialistic things have become more important than our basic needs. एंड वहीं
I
से हम लोगों का ये एटमॉस्फेयर भी क्रिएट हुआ है जहां बच्चों को एम्पैथेटिक अप्रोच रही नहीं है.
I think
पेरेंट्स को भी नहीं.
parenting has a key role to play. Currently, we see lot of most of the parents are working, so they're not able to give sufficient time to their children to get proper education and all that. So that obviously
Absolutely.
value based education is important for making we are going into अमृत काल. अगले 25 साल हम अमृत काल में जा रहे हैं, जैसे हमारे प्रधानमंत्री बोलते हैं. 2047 में हमारे देश के आजादी के 100 साल हो जाएंगे. So we as champions of change, we have to create a society, a young brigade that is not just physically, mentally, but spiritually also powerful. वो जो
एब्सोल्युटली.
moral
एंड देयर इज
moral
अ लॉट टू डू. देयर इज अ लॉट टू डू. अभी तो कुछ भी नहीं किया है. इवन व्हेन आई
exactly
टॉक अबाउट एक्सेसिबिलिटी, कुछ भी नहीं हुआ है एट द ग्राउंड लेवल. Because
yes,
we face
absolutely.
it every day. We face it every day. If
I
I
can
have to go
understand that.
out somewhere, no, I have to think twice or thrice. How am I going to reach that place?
I
Is
think
the place
that
accessible?
that is the direction we have to go forward, and it is the responsibility of not just the government but of all of us to
Everyone.
facilitate people who are facing any kind of problem in life, not just
Gee,
physical disability. There may be mental disability also. Right now we are seeing a lot of mental health anxiety disorders in people. So
yeah,
yeah, we also facing mental health issues in people, anxiety, depression, because the
a lot.
youth is more diverse from the authentic self. So social media and all this tech world has make taken them away from the physical actual world. So I think a lot more needs to be
Absolutely.
done on that front as well.
Yeah, you can see these days, like, families sitting in the room and everybody's busy on their phones. What is
Absolutely.
happening? You all are
Absolutely.
more concerned about how you look on social media rather than how you look deep inside. You're not concerned
Yeah.
about that. Nobody is
Yeah.
concerned about that. जो
yes,
दिखता
yes.
है वही बनने की कोशिश में सब भाग रहे हैं. So what
बिल्कुल
happens
बिल्कुल.
is you lose yourself in the race.
We are putting up a
And
face. We're putting up a face for the
we are
world.
putting up a mask, of course. I'm sure you have gone through my social media these days. What
Right.
I am doing is trying to change the things
Yeah.
by putting it on a lighter note where people understand it more by,
Yes.
laughing on something. They understand it more. कि अच्छा,
Normalizing it. Normalizing it.
it's okay. It's
We
okay.
need to normalize things. Yeah, we need to normalize things.
और being a specially abled मैं ये कर सकती हूँ is okay. It's normal
Yeah,
because the conditions are allowing me to. The
absolutely.
places the conditions won't allow me to, I'll be in trauma. I'll
Yes.
be completely in a different phase. So I'm trying to bring those basic things on the platform wherein like देख लिया, पता चल गया the person is using a prosthetic, it's okay. Now make
We
things
all
comfortable for her.
we all need to come together and contribute our bit in whatever way. And I think I'll be more than happy in any way to contribute to the cause of specially able people. I am all for it. And whenever you would need me on that front, I'm just a call away on that to
I think
spread
your
more.
channel would be the best thing to do that, wherein you are educating people about these things. It is the best thing you can do because social media these days has the
Yeah.
biggest reach.
So
So
my idea of
educating.
doing this is also to create some awareness about a variety of issues that people are facing, and also to bring some light into the life. There's so much darkness around. Let's
Agree.
be that lighthouse, little lighthouses that we have in the society. Let's bring them on board, and because we were not meant to go into our graves in we were meant to go all battered, bruised, and all filthy so that we utilize our entire potential. The dreams, the passions, the ideas that we were given, they were given to change the world. And
Absolutely.
चिड़िया की कहानी अगर आपने सुनी होगी, बहुत प्यारी लगती है मुझे वो कहानी. मैं काफी प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे बोलता भी हूँ कि एक जंगल में जब आग लग गई तो सभी जानवर नदी की तरफ भाग रहे हैं, बिकॉज आग से बचना है उनको. तो इस बीच में एक छोटी सी चिड़िया है, वो जाती है नदी में, अपनी चोंच से पानी लेके आती है और आग बुझाने की कोशिश करती है. वो ऐसा करती जाती है, बार बार ऐसा करती है. तो बाकी जानवर उसको देख के हैरान हो रहे हैं कि ये पागल है चिड़िया, इसके तो चोंच से आग तो नहीं बुझेगी. सो आउट ऑफ क्यूरियोसिटी लोमड़ी ने पूछ लिया कि चिड़िया तेरी चोंच से तो आग बुझेगी नहीं, सो व्हाई आर यू डूइंग दिस. तो उसने कहा वो मुझे भी पता है कि मेरी चोंच से तो आग बुझेगी नहीं, पर जब इस जंगल का इतिहास लिखा जाएगा तो मेरा नाम आग बुझाने वालों में आएगा, ना कि डर के भाग जाने
भागने
वालों.
वालों में.
तो आई
बिल्कुल,
बिलीव
बिल्कुल.
हम सबका वही रोल है कि हम उस अपना एक छोटा सा कंट्रीब्यूशन अगर उसमें दे सके तो वही हम कर
Absolutely.
सकते हैं. या सो दैट इज सो
Absolutely.
कृतिका, हाउ अबाउट योर करंट, हाउ यू मैनेजिंग योर बैंकिंग जॉब नाउ, हाउ इज द थिंग्स गोइंग अराउंड.
I think banking takes the major chunk of the day in my life because it
ओके.
starts at 9:30 in the morning and ends around 5:30 or 6 and sometimes beyond it.
ओके.
So banking does play a major role in my life. And otherwise, it's of course they equally support my other activities too. And
गुड.
they have been supportive enough when it comes to my sports also. So that's how things are being managed because I know कि वो जो time है वो bank का है, so I give it to them completely. So before that and after that is my world. It's my life.
ट्रू
So
ट्रू
that's
ट्रू.
how things are managed, of course. It's like, आपको बस करने की चाह होनी चाहिए. तो time आप अपने आप ढूँढ लेते हो.
Bilkul. You are an inspiration, Kritika, for all of us. You
Thank
have,
you.
not just broken those stereotypes and glass ceilings, but you are creating a path of your own. And we would wish you all the best in all the endeavors that you have coming forward. And may you, brighten the world with the light you are, with that,
Thank you so much.
courage and the grit that you have shown and the determination. Even I feel the little problems sometimes I crib about, let them go to go to the dogs. I mean, let's not crib about small things and celebrate the opportunity that this life offers us. So
Absolutely.
what are your plans going further? How do you want to carry on with this? Any specific? ideas?
See, the specific would be to reach out to as much as people as I can. I'm trying my best to reach out to the
Right.
masses, and of
Right.
course, try to bring about those small changes which are most required right now. So I try connecting to people. I speak to them who are going through some mental illness or any kind of problems in their life. I try to talk to them as much as I can, because sometimes you just need to listen and
Mhm.
not say much. Sometimes you just need a listening ear. That's it.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
try being that for many of the people around. And when it comes to especially able people, I mean, like, I'm all there because I've gone through it. I know how things work and how things change. I've gone through all that trauma also. So I try connecting with all the, recent amputees who are going through such phase, problems with their prosthetics and everything. So as much as I can be of help to anyone, I'm always there. And going out in, other platforms wherein, yes, of course, sports is there. That is going to be there with me throughout. And otherwise, gymming and everything, I go out and I just want to enjoy life completely. I want to live life, and
Yes.
that's
We can
that's
see
what
that.
I.
We can see that you're so full of life
Yeah,
and more than
it's
many other
it's like,
people.
वो एक आदत होती है ना हमें, जैसे कभी कोई पूछता है और क्या हाल है, बस चल रहा है. आई डोंट वांट टू बी डूइंग दैट. वो
Yes.
चल रहा नहीं
Chandra.
होना चाहिए लाइफ
Yes.
में.
Yes. Yes.
It
Yes.
should be like, यार मस्त, एकदम मस्त. So it's okay that you are going through those down phases, but of course रात होगी तो सुबह होगी. You will always
Absolutely.
have that sunrise in your life. So I just want to be that. I just want to
And
live life and make sure that I contribute to the society in any ways I can.
only कहते हैं ना, only those who believe enough live up to see the end of the tunnel. So that belief is very very important. That's
Of
absolutely what
course,
we.
because टनल के दूसरे पार रोशनी मिलेगी. It is
Mhm.
going to be there. All you have to do is keep walking. Don't
Keep
stop.
walking.
You
Yes.
if you think you cannot walk, you keep crawling. It's okay. And in my case, if you can't crawl, you hop, 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 and go
Yes.
there. But go
Yes.
there. Don't stop.
Yes.
Don't stop.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, this has to be the path-breaking podcast of the year, I would say. I mean, so many insights and so much inspiration for myself personally and for the people who are, tuning into this podcast. And
Thank you so
I would
much.
I would invite you to our hometown whenever I am in town. I would love to invite you to our hometown Aknoor and interact with a lot of kids, young kids there. And in any case, you would need my help in anything to promote this cause of the not just specially able, but other issues that we have in the society. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'm so happy we had this podcast, and I mean, had those wonderful insights. And even for me, this is a lot of revelation, a lot of eye-opening moments and goosebumps all around happening. So,
Oh.
Kritika, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Any concluding message you have for our audience? Any concluding message you would like
No,
to put?
I would just say thank you so much, Navjot, for inviting me, because yes, this is a platform where we can connect with people, throughout across the globe. So
Yes.
I would say that, to all of you watching, just be yourself. Just be yourself. You're God's creation, a wonderful creation, and you are here to celebrate and live. Life should not be something like when you go back to God after death and he would ask you a question, how was the heaven? So don't repent then. Just live it now, because that's going to be a regret moment for all of us. He's given you
Yeah.
a beautiful heaven here on earth, and
So true.
all of us are full of love, full of life. Just spread that. Spread that. Hatred or darkness bahut hai, but for people, around, if you keep that little spark in your life, you be that glowworm, the
Mhm.
entire beautiful earth is going to be shining brighter than the sun. So just be the
Absolutely.
sun in everyone's life.
Absolutely, absolutely. So lovely message for the audience. So the message from Kritika is be empathetic, be loving, be kind to people because that's what we need the more so in the world. When everywhere we see violence, wars happening, we need more of people who are loving towards our fellow human beings. कहते हैं ना ऐसी बानी बोलिए मन का आपा खोए ओरन को शीतल करे आपे शीतल होए.
आपको भी
So
शीतल
that's the
हुए,
message.
बिल्कुल.
That's the message from Kritika, our champions of change, our podcast with champions, episode 5. This is a brilliant, message for all of you. Just imbibe that spirit, be that fighter in your life, never go down. The path to those, sunlit mountain tops will go through that valley of shadows. Embrace your valleys so that you rejoice when you reach the peaks. So
Absolutely.
that's the message from our Jammuti Kudi, our Dhakad Kudi, Kritika Khanna, who is an inspiration from all of us. Thank you, Kritika. Thank you for joining
Thank you
us on
so
this
much.
podcast.
Thank you,
It's a
Navjot. Thank you so much for
privilege.
having me.
It's a privilege. It's an honor. It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.